Illustrations by Pete.
Hey everyone, so I really enjoy doing these weird paintings on black paper, and one of my favorite ways to do them is to lay down the gouache first, white gouache, and then put watercolor over the white gouache, and the gouache kind of blends in with the watercolor as you're painting it, and you can get lighter spots or darker spots where you don't blend it. It's very interesting. It's very fun, and I highly recommend you try this. Can you see them? No, you can't. They're blending into the magic. They're becoming one with the cinema. So someone was talking to me and they said, your channel is just like this other channel. And I said, yes, I know. I'm the one who did it. They say, yeah, but why are you doing exactly what they've done? I'm an artist. Basically, everything I've done has already been done. I just take the things I like. You think I'm the first person to do a top-down video? When I started, the first video I did, I mentioned 3, 4, or 5 channels that did exactly what I'm doing. Top-down art video, talking about something else other than the art you're doing. That's what I said I was going to do. And I mentioned the channels that I took that inspiration from. This too. There are plenty of other vlogging channels out there. There's thousands of vlogging channels out there. I'm just copying that. And that's what I'm doing. I don't understand the complaint. Maybe they want me to come up with something original, like an entirely original idea for something that I do that no one else does. I don't think that's possible. But do you know any other top-down artist who starts their video with a vlog? A street vlog? I don't think so. I don't do anything else. This is it. This is my life. You guys enjoy it. The 30 or so of you that watch this video, you enjoy it. So I really enjoy doing these. It works wonderful. It's very quick. It's a very quick painting. It's a very quick process. You can add details and texture very easily. You'll see. This whole painting maybe took me a little over an hour, and then I had to edit it down. So very quick. Look at the lake. It's beautiful. I don't live near a lake. What road am I on? I don't know where I am. Send help. I need an adult. If I get back, I'm going to try and find my way back and figure out where this is. I'll come back here. Do you like seeing this? Is this good content? Is that why you clicked on the video? You wanted to see this? Not me. That's better. That's better. I'm a nature vlogger now. You thought you were on an art show. You were not. Oh, it's locking onto them. Look at you. You're a goose. Out here in the world all alone. Braving, well, you're not alone. You have a lot of friends. I don't have as many friends as you. You want to leave me too? You're not going to watch my videos either? Where are you going? Love me. Will you subscribe? You want a t-shirt? How about a cup? Do you need a mug? I can get you a mug. Okay everyone, well I almost released this video without doing the voiceover for the actual art part because I was so distracted by all the other stuff I was doing. But that's okay, I caught it, and here we are. So I wanted to point out in this video how easy creating texture and just making something interesting was. All I'm doing is starting out with white gouache. I know I've said this probably twice in the video, but I just want to reiterate exactly, because this is, if you've never tried to do this, you should really give it a shot. You put down the white gouache, you put down some watercolor on top of the white gouache, it immediately gives it a beautiful texture. You can mess around with it, you can go back and forth, you can layer and layer and layer. It's not going to cause a problem. This paper is the Legion Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press Black Watercolor Paper. That's a mouthful. It's available down below in my affiliate links. You should check out this paper because it is absolutely amazing. It holds up no matter what. And I don't know if it's because, okay, so with gouache, you usually can use lesser quality paper when you do all gouache because the gouache sits on top of the paper and it doesn't really sink in as much. But I only did the bottom layer of gouache. Everything on top of that is all watercolor. And you'll see how many times I go over some of these spots, just have issue after issue and I'm going through stuff. This was so much fun. I really loved. I'm going to do more of these because I really like how they come out. You can do a beautiful landscape, I'm sure. This wasn't designed to be anything, but every time I do these, because of the colors I use, it ends up looking like a heart or something like that. But it's so easy and I absolutely love it. Really, please give this a shot. Try this out if you haven't before. It is well worth it. Here's what I want to ask you. Do you overthink your art? I know most artists overthink their art. They sit down, they have this idea in their head, and I've seen artists, especially people who start with a pencil sketch. I've seen them sketch and sketch and sketch and then erase, and then sketch and sketch and then erase, and sketch and sketch, and just spend hours sketching before they ever actually get to the art part of the, I mean, not that the sketching is not art, but they just prepare. They're preparing to do something for so long that by the time they actually go to do it, they almost feel burnt out. Like, oh my goodness, now I can finally begin because this is okay. And they still don't feel very good about it. Here's the thing. Most people never feel good about their art anyway. You can prepare for a month on a piece. The chances of you feeling really great about it afterwards are slim to none if that's the kind of artist you are. But I like to get in there. I might do some rough sketching, just put some markers where I want some things to fall, but then I go ahead and I just go into it. I think everyone could create more and actually get better by creating more if they stopped overthinking every little thing and every little placement of every little line and every little shadow. Just create the art and then go back to it and see what was good about it, what was bad about it. There's certain things about this painting that I love, and there are certain things about it that I absolutely can't stand. Every time I look at it, I see the thing that I don't like about it. But for the most part, as I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the things that I do like about it and the things I'm going to take with me to the next painting or drawing. I know I say that a lot, but I think it's very important. A lot of artists get stuck in that. And how do I know that? Because I'm guilty of it. That's how I know it. Because I do this all the time. And I used to do it a lot more. I've trained myself to stop. And sometimes I have to tell myself, just don't even go there. Do what you're doing. And fix it later. Fix it in the next one. Don't fix it on this one. Fix it in the next one. And you'll see there's a couple spots here where I just go over it and over it and over it, and I'm just not happy with it. But that's okay. Eventually, I just say, you know what? This is not worth my time. I'll do better in the next one. There's very few moments in your life where you have this light bulb go off. And when you have those moments, pay very close attention to them. Capitalize on them. This has come up time and time again. I'm putting this out there now, but you can go back to other things that I've done And probably in the future, you can probably throw this right in my face. So if you want to bookmark this, go ahead and do that. I know that I'm going to go and eventually create something else that I'm going to hate, that I'm not going to like as I'm doing it. I'm going to get frustrated, and I don't want to do that. The ability to create something unique and nice and good, something that's never been created before. How many things can you create and not have to worry about, was it the absolute best? And I spoke about this in the last video. Is it good enough? Is it good enough? In most cases, it really is, unless you're doing work for someone, like a client that you're giving. If that's not what you're doing, most of the time, your art is just good enough for where you are at this point in your journey. And sometimes I have to sit back and say, am I overthinking this? Especially when I get to a spot where I just can't get it right. I have to ask myself, it has to trigger something. Am I overthinking this? Can I just move on? Can I just leave this alone and fix it next time in the next painting? It's very difficult to do. I know it is. I know it is, because I like everything to be perfect every time. Art has to be an area in my life where I don't do that, because I would never create anything, because nothing I create is ever perfect. Nothing I create is ever good enough that I would ever leave it alone and not mess around with it again if I did not allow myself the freedom to do something wrong, learn from it next time, say this is good enough. I just think that's something that artists have to do. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think that, no, let me struggle, let me fight this through and I'll overcome it. In my experience, most people don't ever overcome that thing. At least not in that particular drawing. Maybe eventually, in the future as they get better. But not on that same drawing. They don't overcome it just immediately. They just get angry and get frustrated. And I don't want to do that. And I don't want any of you to do that. And I think sometimes it comes down to being more concerned with how people see me versus the actual art itself. Because I could do something terrible and I have to show something, so people are going to see something that's garbage, and I don't want to fail. But really, this is where I am. You don't have to like it. You don't have to think this is good art. There's not one person here who has to think this is good art. But for me, this is where I am. So it has to be good enough for now, because I'm not any better than I am right now. Does that make sense? Am I talking in circles now? Look, some of the largest channels on YouTube have put out some terrible art. You watch it and you're looking for something, and it never gets there. They never really make something from what you're seeing. And sometimes they do. Sometimes it looks terrible in the beginning, and then it just goes on and on and on. It gets better and better and better. And then you say, oh, okay, I see what they did there. I see how they got there. It looked terrible before. Now it looks amazing. And sometimes you're waiting for it to get better, and it never gets better. Like when you watch this channel. Sometimes the art doesn't get better. Sometimes it gets worse. Sometimes I should have stopped 10 minutes before I did. Or an hour before I did. Maybe I should have just closed the book and moved on. But that's okay. You're not alone. Have I spoken about this before? I'm sure I have. This is something I'm very passionate about. So I'm sure I have mentioned this before in another video where I've mentioned to you, hey look, just let everything you're doing be good enough for today. Do something next time that's better. I'm not saying that you have to put everything out there that you create. But I just bet you can make more art if you allow yourself some leeway. Let yourself fail a little bit. Have some fun. You know, when kids pick up crayons or colored pencils when they're younger, of course they're younger, they're kids. So when they do that, they're not thinking this has to be amazing. When I had my Thundercats and my Voltron coloring books when I was a kid, I did not say this has to be amazing. I actually drew a straighter line back then than I do today. That's pretty interesting. But I never said, hey, this has to be so amazing that if I'm ever going to show anyone, it has to be the best. No, I scribbled all over that thing and took it to the closest person and said, look what I did. Because I was having fun. Look at what I had fun doing. We get locked in this mentality that everything has to be so perfect all the time. It does not. You want some freedom? Do something imperfect. Allow yourself, sit down with the intention of doing something that's not going to look very good. And then do something. Hey, look, if it looks great, wonderful. But if it comes out bad, so what? That's what you sat down to do anyway. And it's difficult, especially if you're trying to do this and make it your profession. If you want to be a professional artist, get paid for what you do, it's scary to put stuff out there that may be imperfect. But you don't want to only... If you had to only put out your perfect pieces, how many would you actually get out there in front of people? How many? I probably would have nothing out there in front of someone. Because nothing is perfect. I always look at this and say I messed this up. You may not know that I messed this up. Because a lot of the stuff that I do is doodle stuff. You can't tell what it is anyway. You didn't know what it was supposed to be. But sometimes I have an intention with how I'm doing something. And if it doesn't work out, you don't know. But I still messed up. I still failed at what I was trying to do. It's important that you just do what this is where I am today. As a matter of fact, if you look at some of my past artwork, it was a lot more realistic. You could see some nice things. I did a couple of nice drawings, paintings of animals and things like that, and that I was more proud of then when I was doing it, because I thought, wow, that came out great, and I thought it was wonderful. But you look at the stuff now, that you don't know what that's supposed to be. You have no idea what this thing is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a heart, even though it looks like a heart that like fell on the floor off the operating table. But it's not supposed to be that. But you wouldn't know that. You don't know what this is. And so I have a little bit more freedom to just do whatever it is I want to do. And that's some of the beauty also of doing some doodle stuff. Doodle, sketch, do that kind of stuff. People don't know what it is anyway, so they don't know if you messed up. It's okay. And take some pressure off of you. And you can do... And these are fun. These are easy. Because the gouache, it comes off onto the page in different ways, so that when you put the watercolor on top, it blends with it a little bit and creates like a texture, because there are thick spots and thin spots of gouache on top of thick spots and thin spots of watercolor. And they're just fun to do, and you can always go over them with a completely different color if you wanted to, because you have the gouache. You can go over it with white gouache and then put another color. It'll blend all together. It's very nice. It's a very fun way to do art. And that brings me to another question. Why do we feel the need to hold professionals in such a high regard that we quote them to death as if every dumb statement was a pearl of wisdom? You can appreciate what someone does in their professional life and not follow every dumb thought they have. I saw recently someone had posted... Paul Cézanne, if you ever seen his work, is beautiful work. It is beautiful work. But he said, a work of art which did not begin in emotion is not art. And people quote that like that's some profound thought. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Do you know how much art that I've started with absolutely no emotion? I was just doodling and turned into something. It may have become something I was excited about and became something that I felt. That I was like, wow, I really like this. And then I got into it a little bit more. But it never started that way. Sometimes it just started as doodle. Or I wanted to test out a theory I had about how to do something a certain way with a certain shadow texture or whatever. That's all really... That's the dumbest thing. Some art starts with emotion. I'm sure it does. Some people, especially dramatic people, overly dramatic people, they just have that, oh, I just have to create, and they start doing some weird stuff and dancing around in their underwear with a tie on their head and then playing weird music, and then they got a paintbrush in one hand, they got paint cans all around them, they're dipping paint and slapping it everywhere, and then they say, oh, this was an emotional experience for me. Whatever. Those people are crazy. I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to you people. Art does not have to be this big emotional thing. It can be emotional. Sometimes what you put on a page does express emotion. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Many times, what you put on a page is designed to express an emotion, because when people look at it, you want them to feel something. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is sometimes art does not start out as an emotion. Many times you'll do something and then say, I've got to put that into an actual piece, because this thing that I started has become something that I absolutely love. So, don't quote people just because they're good artists. Don't take their advice if it sounds stupid. If it doesn't make logical sense, don't take their advice, and don't re-quote the stupid things that they say just because it sounds like it could be profound somewhere at some point in time. Please don't do that. It's very irritating. As a fellow artist, I'm tired of seeing that by other artists. You want to quote someone? Quote Bob Ross. I know everybody hates Bob Ross. I think he's canceled now. I don't know for sure, but I think everybody has canceled him, or his company. Maybe the people that took over. I don't know. There's something going on with him. Just like there's a thing going on with everyone in the world right now, where there's just, if you can find it, you can twist it into something that's terrible that you should hate them for. But anyway, I'm just saying, if you're going to quote someone that talks about happy trees, and this is your world, and you do whatever you want on that's the kind of encouragement that artists need, not some stupid statement that doesn't make any sense, and then people think they have to get all emotional just to create art. Don't do that. He didn't know what he's talking about. It was probably quoted out of context anyway. He probably wasn't even talking about art. But no, he says art. But whatever. All I'm saying is, don't cancel him. But also don't re-quote his stupid quotes. Or anybody's. Or mine. I have a lot of stupid quotes. I should probably be fired. Alright. If you have enjoyed this video, please subscribe down below. I don't ask that very often. But I'm going to start doing it more. Because I would like people to do it. I'll ask birds. I'll ask turtles, frogs, anyone who will listen to me. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.